I'm going to show you some of the new features in the latest version of Coachr Volleyball Stats. Now I added these because I was using the app a lot from the bench when I was the assistant coach with the senior women over in Andorra for the Small Country Association tournament. And these are a couple of things that as I was tapping around, I was like, man, this could save me a lot of time. So in the latest build, I've added these things here. And the two main features that I'm going to focus on here, and the most important and near and dear to my heart, are auto capture assists and compare matches. Compare matches is something that came after, once we were kind of trying to compare the two different campaigns, 2025 and 2026. And auto capture assists is something that I'm most excited about because this is going to help me in the games be a lot more reactive. So let's take a look at auto capture assists. So you can see here, I'm imagining I'm coaching Galatasaray. I've got Bongarts in zone 2, so that's my setter. I've got my libero over here. I've got Silla and Ilkin. You can see there's a new pink highlight around the outside hitters, just to let me know very quickly and easily, okay, who's likely to receive this ball. And we're going to see over on the side what it looks like in a match. So over here, we have our outside hitter. This is Ilkin, this is Silla, and this is our libero. And we're going to see what happens when the ball gets served. So when the ball gets served, it goes to the outside, give her a 3. That's an assist to the outside hitter for a kill. Now that all has to happen pretty quick. And if I go down over here and I press and hold on the arrow, it'll show me what's been tracked. So that's all fine, that's well and good. This helps me identify first ball kills. So in this case, we got a first ball kill because we had a reception leading to an assist leading to a kill. But that is a lot of hunting around, especially if I haven't had time to kind of set up and remember, like, where is my setter? I've got this sort of little visual device that I can use to identify quickly where the setter is on the court. Usually we only have one on the court. So I said, you know what, if we add an auto assist capability, I think that's going to help us a lot in just having to hunt and peck down different things. I've tried to make it as easy as possible for us to be able to find these things, especially if we're a coach on our own, trying to also focus a little bit on the match at the same time that it's going on. So let me rotate around and set that up, and I'm going to show you again what this looks like. So we've just given away the point. It's gone back over the other side. We have to side out now. Now I'm going to go over to the sidebar here, and you can go open up the settings. And in match behavior, there's a new preference called auto capture assists. Now it's off by default because I don't want to change any behavior underneath your nose. So I'm going to go turn that on. I'm going to go tap on the sidebar and go back to my match in progress. So we're ready to pass here. I've actually got everybody looking like they're going to receive right now. But where this saves us time is instead of having to go and press on Silla with a 3 pass, Bongarts with an assist, and then Ilkin with a kill, I can actually just do Silla with a 3 pass and then Ilkin with a kill. It usually happens that fast anyway. And it'll automatically say, oh, do you know what? If you don't tell me otherwise, I'm going to assume that Bongarts set this because she's our setter on court. She should be setting just about every ball anyway. So let's make it a bit easier on us coaches on the bench. So here we go. So the serve goes over, Silla got a 3, Ilkin got a kill, same exact swing. And if I go look, I can see that there's a little sparkle here next to my little pop-up status. And if I click on this, I can see that we've got the same exact sequence of events, just with this sparkle next to the assist because that was automatically inferred. So I'll see that later in the advanced layout for the app and for this match, so that I can actually delete that. If I made a mistake, then I can always just get rid of that. This is going to make, for me anyway, my life so much easier because I won't have to go hunting for that setter when most of the time it is the setter setting that ball. Now, if we're having a really poor passing performance, I might want to turn that off. And as you saw, I didn't have to restart the game, so it can actually happen there and then. Now, what about the case where we are out of system a lot? The other side is serving like crazy. We're going to rotate around again and get set up in that same position. We're receiving. Serve comes over. Scylla passes it. That's probably a one pass. The libero then gets an assist out to Ilkin. Usually we have a little bit more time on an out of system ball. So when I went and captured that sequence where we went from the outside hitter, the ball was over here, setter gave up on it, big set to the outside. You can see that this is how it's captured in the app. So Scylla with a one pass, Ozoi with an assist leading to a kill, and then Ilkin just putting away everything out there. So you can see that it didn't automatically insert anything because I did capture an assist explicitly. It said, okay, that's cool, we're covered. Now there's another case as well that we want to handle, the edge case, where we have the situation where we're playing defense. In this case, we've got our setter in the back row. We've got our outside, our libero in. So this works pretty well. We're serving. We serve that ball over. So we'll say we served a 2 because they're in pretty good position. That outside hitter is going to take a swing. So when they take a swing, we dig it in the back row and it goes straight to the outside hitter. Now, if I hit kill there, it's gonna mark it as having been assisted by Bongerts, which I don't want. So what I can do is tap and swipe on kill, and that will unlink it. Now the other thing that I could do, instead of unlinking it, because it did happen off of a dig, I could give Scylla the assist as well. So the other way I could capture that is I could say, okay, Bongerts had a serve, Scylla had a dig. We'll mark it as an assist because it went Ilkin who got the kill. And this is how it's currently tracked, especially if you're linking the stats. The dig leading to an assist, leading to a kill. We've got a small bug here that I'll fix in the next release where this should be linked to that. If you have that turned on and if you say Scylla got a dig and then she also got an assist. But that's a way to replicate the old behavior in this new system. Another feature I think you'll find really useful is the compare matches feature. I added this after our recent tournament with the senior women here in Ireland. I wanted to see how well they performed in the most recent Small Country Association tournament versus last year's. So I added this new compare tab. So let's go take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, so to go check out matches, we're going to go up to the sidebar over here, of course. I'm going to go take a look at the Conegliano versus Volleyball match that I tracked a year or two ago. And of course, we have our usual numbers. We have all the stats, the summary. But say I want to compare how we've performed over time. Of course, we have things like the game stats that we can look at. We can even look at the game trends. So if I tap in there, I can see how we're performed over the course of a match. But what if I wanted to compare how we did in a previous match against another opponent? Well, now we've got this compare tab. So if I tap on that, I now see this new compare tab. So I can go to either compare with all matches, or I can pick specific matches that I want to compare against. So when I tap on this button here, I get a few matches bubbled up to the surface. These are ones that share the same roster with the match that I'm currently viewing. So we've got Imoco versus Scandici, and then we have a Champions League match from even earlier in the year. But then we also have competitions that we can compare this match against. We have the tags that we might have assigned. We have seasons, so year by year. And then we have individual matches as well. So I could compare how Imoco did versus, say, Ireland versus the Faroe Islands the first time. I'm going to show you that in a second, but first I want to see how we did compared to the match against Scandicci. So if I tap on that, here's the Vero Valley match, the one that I've been viewing. And on the right, here's the Scandicci match. We get a high-level overview, so we can see where we scored our points, total errors, our plus minus. And you can also see here in blue, in bold, where we performed better. It takes into account the fact that, of course, we don't want more errors and we don't want less points. So the bolded one takes into account the type of stat that we're talking about here. We had 9 aces. So overall, it looks like we performed quite a bit better in the Scandicci match, even in blocks. And we have a little breakdown in plain English language about what the biggest differences were between the 2 sets and the 2 matches. We have a breakdown of our hitting, our serving, our reception, whether or not we were making them play, our error breakdown as well from one match to the next, and then some advanced breakdown, just like we have in the match summary. And then we have at the bottom a comparison of the different players. So I can have a look at Isabella, and she actually had a slightly better game from a hitting efficiency point of view against Vero Valley than she did against Scandicci. A slightly better serve rating. And if I look at some of the other players, I can also sort of take a look at who performed in which matches. So this is all really useful, and it's a nice way to sort of see maybe a player's evolution, or maybe where we didn't have to rely on a certain player quite as much. And if I go back up to the top, I can change the match that I'm comparing against. And if I decided to say, actually, do you know what? I'm going to compare against this demo folder, which I know has a few of the Emoco matches in it. So I'm going to tap on that. And you see a new item up here in the UI because the sets don't match, whereas those previous 2 matches, they each went 3 sets. Here we have 1 match with 3 sets, and here we have 11 matches with a total of 21 sets. We've done a breakdown per set, so kind of picked out the average of how many points, how many errors we made in each match. We can also, if we want, compare it against the totals. Say all the matches, of course, we're going to have more points, ideally, if we're comparing one match against the whole selection of matches. But per set might be your most useful metric, especially if you're comparing 2 different competitions against each other. Again, we'll have the same breakdown, just like we do when we're comparing against an individual match. And when we get to the bottom, if the folder and the match share some players, we'll have the same breakdown. So we can take a look at Catherine Plummer's stats across all those demo matches. And again, specifically that Vero Valley Milan match. Now, if they don't share any at all, like say I wanted to maybe show my youth team that played in AMB 2024, how they stack up against Conegliano, I can show them here that, well, they're earning quite a few more points than we are. They're making less errors. They've got more kills. We had more aces. It's a youth tournament. That's the way it goes. And if we go down to the very bottom, we'll see that no players were shared between the 2, obviously. So we have no players to compare here. Now, going back to that use case where I wanted to compare one tournament against the last, if I go and I collapse this demo folder, I'm going to compare my CEV SCA Women 2026 against the same from 2024. So I'm going to go hit compare. I can choose the comparison here. Now these are matches that share the same roster. I actually want to go look for a specific tournament. So I think I called that one SCA Senior Women 2025. And now we can compare the 2. Looks like we did a little bit better in the previous year's edition. Now that might be down to the competition that we faced or the personnel that we carried. And you can see that not all the players were the same between the two, but those that are shared between the two, we can actually check out how they performed one year versus the other year. So this is a really useful tool. In fact, it's so useful that I added a new share button here so that I can send these insights off to the team as well to say, all right, this is where we've done better or worse. And maybe this is why. Maybe the level of competition was a bit higher this year. Or maybe they were focused more on serving, and the serving was much tougher this year than it was the previous year. But attacking, we did really well. So we've got some more tools to give to the team just to give them some insights into their performance. And that is a quick look at the new compare matches feature in the latest version of Coachr Volleyball Stats.